Now, here is your host, John Crump.
What is up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Sorry I'm a little bit late. I kind of ripped off my fingernail and I had to get Band-Aid because I was bleeding everywhere. But so I had to go find a Band-Aid while holding like a towel over it so I don't bleed everywhere. Oh, just my luck, right? Tonight we are sponsored by Black Swan Tactical, part of the Black Swan Media family because I own it. So I'm sponsored. Yeah. We have these little stickers in right here that says no quarter for tyrants for selling those for 20 for $5. And check this out.
I want one.
All right, I'll get you some.
Cool.
We just got this in.
Oh, I like that.
These are going for 15, free shipping too.
That's awesome.
Just got those in today, just added those. My design, so
yeah, that's awesome. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. ICG Web's out there.
Hey,
We are live now. What's up, G? Sorry, I didn't get your invitation last night, G, until after I was in bed. Because, you guys are like West Coast and I'm East Coast, holding it down. Like, or whatever the gangster rappers used to say. Give us a thumbs up. Share. You can also support independent journalism by supporting me at patreon.com/John Crump or one-time donation at paypal.me/JohnCC. I just want to remind everyone we are still doing our Can It giveaway with training for a single mom out there. So you go to 2aproject.com if you're a single mom and you want a free gun and free training how to use that gun, or if you want to nominate someone for the free gun and free training. My Patreons will help decide.
I like that. Of course, that's my lane. So I'm into that. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you're doing that.
Yeah, the 2A Project is arming America one gun at a time to make new gun owners. Tonight, I am joined by Kerry Slone from We the Female and Stilettos and Shotgun. I had her on a show a long time ago when I was first getting started of relaunching a YouTube career. I say it's a career like I'm making money at it. I used to make a little bit of money at it before YouTube decided to shut down my channel with 2,000 subscribers. It wasn't a lot, but it was something. But now I'm starting over. Kerry, how are you doing? And Gary's out there on my Facebook page, Gary Ramsey. He is the owner of Honor Defense. They make some handguns.
Is Honor Defense the all veteran?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the first pistols I shot was one of yours. Yeah. So it's veteran owned, designed, all veterans working there. Am I understanding correctly? Yeah.
Yeah. Ramey. I gotta say Ramsey. No, it's not Ramsey. Sorry, I know who you are.
Yeah. I was really impressed with that. And I shot one of your first generation. One of the things I actually liked about it is, as corny as it is, and of course at the time I'm not a gun girl, right? I'm super new to this world, but it had that breaching tool on the front of it that I liked, that you could bust glass with or something like that if you needed to. And I don't know if you still make them like that or not, but the one that I shot actually had that. I just didn't remember that.
They have a lot of there.
Yeah, well, and I'm married to, active duty. He's been he will be when he retires. So yeah, I love supporting veteran-owned businesses.
Yeah, what is that? I think I'm echoing off of you again, Kerry. Oh, there it goes. It's better now. Yeah, we are both dependents of military people.
Well, I'm not a dependent. I'm a wife, but I'm not as dependent. So
I'm talking about what the government refers to us at on our little IDs.
Oh, the little card? Yeah. I'm just glad that they don't put our social security numbers on them anymore, which was the dumbest thing.
Mine's actually expired. I got to go get a new one.
Yeah, I've got like an actual number now or something like that. The only thing I like to depend on him for is that when he's checking us in for flights, whenever he checks us in, I always get pre-check. because it's really for whatever reason I can't get it the way he can. So even with my military ID, so I depend on him to check me in for airline flights.
Yeah. Wow.
I didn't realize your wife was active duty, so that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, keep on getting echoes every once in a while, but being
Oh,
married
sorry, guys.
military person is very interesting when the female is the military person.
Yeah.
Because somewhere she'll show her military ID and they'll look at me and go, "Thank you for your service."
Right. Yeah. It's still totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's still totally one of those worlds, right? Yeah. It's true. Yeah. Mark Grimsley's. He was active duty and he's not any longer, but his wife is, and his wife is an officer as well. And yeah, so it's I always get a giggle out of that, and I still have to get out of the habit of saying spouse. A wife, or like wives groups or whatever, because I'm not involved. I'm not involved in any of that stuff. You're not veteran owned, but you have to be a veteran to work on the firearms. Got it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that for me. I like, it's probably been 8 or 9 months since I shot that pistol, and I just remember the name very distinctly, and I remember that. So thank you for clearing that up for me. I appreciate that. And so it was so it is an interesting world, and with him, right, because I do all this activism and advocacy, it's kind of a fine line for him, because he has to be, probably your wife too, you have to be really careful about getting too involved and showing that you're supporting something of one or another.
Yeah. It's really bad.
You want me to try putting this back in again?
Yeah, that would be a little bit better.
Okay, let's see if this works. Hey everyone, what's coming in?
I sounded like Satan.
How's that?
Oh, that's good.
All right. Hey,
No,
y'all.
It doesn't sound like I'm Satan anymore. So
Yes, I enjoyed that, and I'm glad to hear that. And I think that still the fact that you put forward the effort to support veterans and employ veterans is a big deal and should be acknowledged.
yeah, one of the reasons why I had you on there is because we've been doing different things with different states, and I wanted to get to see what's going on in your state of Washington.
A lot, actually, right now, because we are heavy into repealing. We have I don't remember what the initiative number is. I've got petitions in my car. There's a formal petition to get on the ballot in 2020 to repeal I-1639. So 1639 is actually what threw me into all of this gun culture world and Second Amendment advocacy work initially and last year. So there are a lot of people at work making this happen, one of which most people know, like the main guy that pushed it forward, people wouldn't know him as much, but Dan Mitchell, who owns Sporting Systems. And he was the one that just jumped out there with his big FO and did his big fundraiser and stuff and got it going. And that was to fund the efforts to do this. So I have been, I took a case of petitions and I've been driving all over and handing them out, giving stacks of them to places. And I've gotten them up as far as, if you're in Washington State, Orcas Island. We have people I've had people mail them up there. Where I live, we don't have a lot of gun stores, like storefront gun stores. Whereas like on the other side, they can put them in the stores. We don't have that. So I'm having to get out there heavy with like boots on the ground kind of stuff and getting people out signing and storefronts and their friends and family and neighbor and kind of stuff. We did have a cute story I'll share. I'll make it short, but a couple of my friends were out getting petitions signed in front of a Sportsman's Warehouse, and this older gentleman over 60 came up and they tried to get him, and he says, "I don't talk politics on Sunday." So he goes inside, and about 20 minutes later, he comes out. He's like, "Where's that goddamn petition?" He apparently was oblivious to the fact that 1639 now, in fact, made him wait 10 days to buy a rifle. He was wicked pissed. So he came out and he signed it. He says, "When my wife comes out, I'll have her sign it too. This is a bunch of," and he went on and on and on. And So it's funny how we find that so many people that are that are gun owners and Second Amendment, they don't even know what the laws are that are out there, and until they obviously negatively impact them. So part of our responsibility is not just we need to do more groundwork, community outreach, as opposed to like just ranting about Second Amendment in general, because we need to start getting hey Trey, we need to start getting that that momentum going in our communities, which has been a big push I've been having, and with some success getting people, cities, state stuff. So we also just had we've got a lot going on up here. We just had a law pass, or an ordinance, I guess they call them at that level, in the city of Tacoma. I testified again. I drove down there. I don't live in Tacoma, but I drove down to testify. And they just passed an ammo and retail gun tax. So for every gun that's purchased in the city of Tacoma, it's a $25 retail sales tax. And then
how do they get around it? Because there's a famous Supreme Court ruling out of Pennsylvania that says you cannot have a direct tax on a right.
So the city of Seattle already has it. And I just think that people haven't really put forth any effort to fight it. But so they put it in place. But here's what's interesting about it. So it's also starting with a 22 caliber. It's a 1 cent tax on every round of 22 caliber ammunition, and it goes up to 5 cents with the bigger caliber, with the larger caliber. Like, it's more deadly, like one, you know what I mean? It's just, so that itself lets you know that they have no idea what they're doing, right? In addition to that, if you go onto my Instagram or my Facebook pages, you'll see a woman named Catherine Ushka, who is one of the city council members there, made some racist comments about the crowd that was there that night, who were probably 90% Aero employees, because Aero Precision is in the city of Tacoma. And so they came out in force and spoke. I mean, I was super impressed with the presence that they had. It was so impressive. But, we all went in and we knew going into this deal that they were going to vote it. They were going to approve it anyway. They approved it unanimously. They literally said, you can go to the city of Tacoma website and pull up the last city council meeting, and you can actually watch the video of it. It's like 3 hours long, because there were 125 people there to testify. And 90 or 100 of them were there for the ammo, for the tax, and the other like 30 were there for like a climate change bill or something like that. And there were only about 10 of them that spoke against it. Everybody else, or spoke for it. Everybody else was against it. So it was really interesting to see how that broke down, and yet they still voted it in. But every single one of these city council members said, yeah, we really didn't study this before we put it out here, and we really don't know what it says or how it's going to affect anything, but we're going to go ahead and pass it anyway. And then we'll figure out what's in it. And we'll take until July of...
Or you read it.
Huh?
You get a pass the bill here, you find out what's in it.
Right. It was the Pelosi syndrome, right? And so then they said, and we're going to take until July of 2020 to figure it out. And that just infuriated me. So then you had this Catherine Ushka making these racist comments. She was just a condescending snot the entire time she was up there. I mean, literally, because they sit up looking down on us, but with that, kind of that scowl. And she said, to paraphrase it, that essentially it's on my page. I mean, you guys can see the video because it's clipped and on my page. But essentially, the reason that people from her district didn't show up is because they're mostly people of color, and that they were scared of all of the white people there that were probably concealed carrying.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And so you hear everybody in the room just be like, oh, she didn't go there. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous that she said it. And by people of color, like all my Black friends are like, and usually that means that's white people's way of saying colored folk. But we all know that that's ridiculous. And what it came down to is somebody emailed her about it. A Latino man emailed her and says, I'm not afraid to be in a room with a bunch of white people that are armed. And she came back, and essentially what it came down to is that she she herself was scared to be in a room with people that were armed. And so therefore she projected it onto all of the people of color in her district. So I sent it to KD, Kevin Dixie from NOC Firearms Training. And if you know anything about his advocacy and what he does, let's just say it didn't go over well. And as of today, so he responded, beautiful response. And that's posted as well. But fantastic response. But today he started making memes. I'm like, uh-oh. And so we have a big mission here to get her out of office. So I've got people on the ground in her district, which is so if you're watching or you watch this later from Washington State and you live in Tacoma or know people in Tacoma, she is in District 4. And we're taking this video and we're hitting the streets. We're showing people on the streets. We are, craft fairs, all this Christmas stuff is coming up. We're just going to start approaching people and saying, hey, this is what your representative from your city thinks about you, and let it go. So, and let's see what happens with it. So, because that's how you affect change, right? You need to affect change in your communities first. And so this entire city council needs to go. So.
Yeah, people are wondering about my hat. It's an angel with a sword. It's from Rifle Dynamics.
Let me see it again. It's an angel with a. Oh, cool. My old ass eyes thought it was a bird.
Very, very high end AKs. U.S. can tell you they have like 4,000 a pop. I don't own one because it's really expensive, but they're very nice. They have adjustable gas box and everything. They're quite awesome.
I will have to check that out. Hey, John Voorhees, I just see your comment there. Hopefully that woman gets voted out. We are making it our mission. There are several of us here making it our mission to get her voted out. And Precision is pissed off. They are one of the top 3 employers in the city of Tacoma, bringing multiple millions of dollars in revenue, with just shy of 400 employees just in the city of Tacoma, and they're not happy. So
yeah, they make good rifles.
They do, yeah, they're great, and they're just great people. I mean, everything about Arrow is awesome. So I'm looking forward to them kind of standing up here with this too, and a lot of people we're at this point now where we're also all of us are going to stop shopping in Tacoma at all. We're not going to spend any money at all in Tacoma. Yeah. So
yeah, Washington's an interesting state. It's like the West is very liberal, and then the East is very conservative.
Yeah. Well, Oregon is like that too, and it is. I mean, but Washington is one of the few states that actually is actively moving forward and legitimately. I mean, you don't hear about it in the news, but they actually have a formal and moving forward motion to try to split the state and actually create a 51st state.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard though.
I don't think it's going to happen, but the fact that they're actually willing to do it and put forth the effort, I'm impressed with. I'm impressed that somebody's doing something, with it. But yeah, they because it is we have one of those situations where the city of Seattle literally controls how the vote happens.
Yeah, it's kind of Northern Virginia and the rest of Virginia.
Yeah, and Oregon is that way with Portland. Not quite as bad as it is here, but it's like LA and San Francisco control the entire state of California. It's similar.
Portland is some wackadoos out there.
Well, I don't know if y'all know this, but the mayor of Portland, actually, this came out earlier this year, and of course the media buried it, but there's video of him. You can hear it. He told the city of Portland police
to stand down
against Antifa. And these police officers finally said, screw this. And they started coming out publicly about it. But this guy, the mayor there, openly endorses Antifa. My husband, doing force protection, large scale force protection, security and stuff. He did their fleet week down there when our ships came in for the Navy. And, he goes in 6 months ahead of time, right, and tells everybody what they need to do and stuff to make the ship secure. And John, next time we're together, ask him about Antifa and watch the look on his face. He hates them. Like, it is one of those, like, he's pretty, like, you met my husband, right? Like, he's like this, right? And then you mention Antifa and he's like this, like, immediately he's like, oh, he just can't stand him. I mean, they're just ridiculous. So, oh, look at that. See, that's how you make. That's how. But you know, good for you.
We had a special last night of how to do all that stuff.
That's awesome. I've started when came back from that rally. I had I did that breakfast and for people that decided to step up and be active, and they full blown came home and did it. So I've got these smaller groups going right now on in group chats where I'm putting forth information and helping them to move forward with advocacy and kind of, I wouldn't say training for lack of a better word, but more like mentoring. And one of them, actually, he's the one that put together that, if you guys have been seeing it, that there he is right there, Liv. Hey, you, I was just going to talk about that social media rally that he put together. And, basically he was pissed because people are like, look, and he's from here in Washington State with me, and he came out to the rally, but he's like, if your excuse was you can't go, he says, fine, let's flood our representatives' emails and phones on the day that the anniversary of the Bill of Rights being ratified, which is December 15th. So we're going to, spread it across social media. And then on Sunday, it's a Sunday, but when they come in on Monday, we want them to they're not going to be able to ignore us because they're going to take all that time cleaning out their voicemails and their emails and all that kind of stuff from all of these advocates that are out here saying we've had enough. So I thought it was a great idea. I mean, I thought it was kind of fun, and I think it's something that everybody can participate in, right? I mean, if you're sitting watching football, you can send an email,
Yeah.
So it's an easy way for people to do something.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who don't take the time to do stuff like that.
Oh, I know. I get into it all the time with social media. I'm like, every time somebody says something, well, unfortunately, this, my first question is always, what are you doing in your community, right? Because my favorite is, well, the government isn't going to do shit. Well, right, because the government is where your fight isn't at. Your fight is in your community and in your state, because those are the people, particularly like your city councils, your sheriffs, all these people, or boards, even school boards. These are the people that move to the state level and then move to the federal level. So if you want, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So if you want to change Congress, you got to start changing it within your communities. And that's where people tend, right? Because we become this culture of instant gratification being perpetuated in my conspiratorial mind by the government through social media. But, that's just me wearing my aluminum foil hat. But so it helps to promote that distraction, and people get a fatalist attitude when they don't see something happening immediately. But this kind of thing didn't happen. Like, we didn't get to this point overnight. So we're going to have to unravel it overnight. And, we as gun owner, firearm, and it's not even gun owners, right? It's Second Amendment people who fiercely believe in the Second Amendment, because the right to bear arms is not just gun ownership and the gun culture. Hi, Kermit loves bacon. That's a great name. The gun culture would serve itself well to stop immediately connecting the right to bear arms with guns specifically, because it's any and all means of self-defense. And the SCOTUS just came back and said that recently, like this year. I think it was earlier this year. So which is cool, and it was nice to hear that, because I've been saying that along. But if we can start changing the language that we use as firearms owners, then it helps to make it less scary, when we're moving forward.
I do want to say, if you want to find out more about Second Amendment sanctuary counties and stuff, you can always go to the site that had the banner up for the gunownersaction.org/SASO.
Screenshotting that so I can look it up later. Thank you. Yeah, I think that that's where, like, John Voorhees with this second, that's where you start making the changes. So I'm glad to see that people are finally starting to take action at their local levels, and you can vote people out, right? It can happen. And if you're so worried about voter corruption and you think that's the problem, start volunteering with the election committees.
Yeah, Matt Death Cowboy out there, he does a lot with local politics.
Yeah, that's where you can make a change for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you really can make a change. I mean, people have this idea that anti-gunners are always going to be anti-gunners, but you have people like Dan Gross, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And I've had a couple of my, I own a day spa as my day job, and I've got some clients that are very anti-gun. Now, one advantage I have, and that Chris Chang and I had this conversation the other night, and it's something that we want to start working on moving forward, moving the conversation forward, but about how to fight fire with fire. But it's how the conversations need to start happening is and how I've been able to change that. Being a domestic violence survivor that's pro-gun is not something that's ever talked about. You know that. I mean, we'll occasionally, there's a lot of women out here that are gun owners that have become instructors or they've done things, but they're not out actively being active as voices. And that's fine. I mean, that's cool. I'm willing to do it, but that immediately, for lack of a better, for not to be punny, but that it disarms people, and especially with people that are extreme anti-gunners, right? Because they tend to be that borderline, that social justice warrior type kind of thing. They immediately shift their vision to being sympathetic to me as a victim, and so therefore their brains aren't set in arguing with me about guns, and they want to be sympathetic to me. So it opens the door for me to get in and have these conversations. And I have 3 women now already that independently have asked me to take them. They want to learn how to shoot. So, and that's the thing, right? You're not going to put people in a giant room, right? You're not going to go to an auditorium and talk to a bunch of people that are anti-gun and change their mind. That's not how it works. You can get to them one at a time. It's exhausting, but you can do it. So I like to use the term, let's be resources, not adversaries to them. And it's hard, right? Because if you guys follow me, I'm an a-hole. Like I don't suffer fools well, and I have very little patience, and I will call you out. So it is really hard sometimes for me to rein it in when they start in. And so, but I definitely have developed a tactic with it. And sometimes it's just a matter of dropping a little bit of a seed and just walking away. And if they want to continue to engage and argue, don't, because they'll come back to you, because now you haven't been their adversary, right? And they'll keep coming back because they're going to want to come back and argue with you, right? I mean, that's kind of their thing. But eventually they'll stop and actually listen to what you have to say. So one of them, it took a year. She wants to go to the gun range, but it took a year. It's exhausting, but it worked, right? I mean,
that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Do you see any hope for Washington State?
I would like to say yes. I would like to say yes, because I think that we can affect change if we really want to. We have I think Seattle's got some pretty heavy corruption going on, and that's a problem. We've got an attorney general who certainly has bigger plans. I'm pretty sure he was pissed when Inslee dropped out of the race, because when I went to that Kamala Harris thing, when I confronted Kamala Harris, our attorney general was there, and his nose was so far up her ass that, I mean, it was amazing to see, which clearly led me to believe that he's got makes on national. He's got his eyes on the national platform. And when he won re-election a couple years ago, one of the platforms he ran on was that he said that he wants it to be his goal to ban every semi-automatic rifle in the state of Washington. So when they passed 1639 helped to redefine what a semi-automatic, or what an assault weapon is, right? What they call an assault weapon, including like semi-automatic 22 air pistols, like based on the definition. That's how absurd this is. So then they come in the next year, so just this last year, and they hit it hard, which we knew that they were going to, or just this past year, and they listed 80 or 90 semi-automatic rifles, specifically by manufacturer and type, that they want to ban, classified as assault rifles under this new definition. So fortunately it got tabled. Hello, daughter. Okay. Fortunately it got tabled. Unfortunately it got tabled. So we're going to see how that goes. But Inslee's, of course, going to run again for governor. If we can finally get people pissed off enough at him that they can get him voted out, we'll be in good shape. We have Lauren Culp running as we've got three or four running for the Republican ticket here. No third parties, which disappoints me. I'd really like to see a third party candidate here. Hello, anybody out there? Because I always vote third party. But we have Lauren Culp, some Russian guy, Anton, I can't ever pronounce his last name. Liv, if he's watching, he can probably type it in there. Phil Fortunato, who is, he's already an incumbent politician as a state senator. And one other dude, I can't remember this other, I don't even know, like he's insignificant to be honest. But Lauren Culp is the sheriff that came out right after 1639 passed the next week, and he declared his county the sanctuary county, and then 37 counties followed suit. So Lauren Culp is, I can't, as the president of a nonprofit, I can't endorse anyone, but I like Lauren. I think that's obviously, I support his philosophy. I can't endorse that, but let me say that formally. One of the things that concerns me is, and I want you, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I want y'all to bring this back out to your communities and think about this. Sakharov, thank you. Sakharov, like I've had pissing matches with him on Twitter because he really doesn't know what he's doing. And I started in on him right away, and he started following me. So they all sent me friend requests and started following me on social media, which I thought was kind of interesting, about 9-10 months ago. But this Sakharov guy, the other day on Twitter, he was making comments. He likes to try to. He tries to pull the Trump card and be all sass mouthed and stuff, and it like he needs to kind of. I mean, and I'm an asshole, but I'm not running for president or running for governor. But thanks, John. I appreciate that. So, but this guy, I said, so what are you going to do about what? Let's hear what your thing is, because right, he's always like doing the political talk, and finally he came back and he made a comment about that he's going to go through 1639 and break it down and get rid of the pieces of it that are unconstitutional. And I said, why aren't you just getting rid of it? And I said, that's not acceptable. You should just be, and he says, well, I can't do that because it was voted in. I can't just kick anything out that the voters put in. And I said, unfortunately, I'm going to have to share that information. And then he came back with, this was my favorite. He came back with, and for those watching that are in this, some of them I can see, I know you guys are going to appreciate this. I'm a full supporter of the Second Amendment. I'm a lifetime NRA member and I own a gun. And I was like, and I said, probably not a good idea to say that right now. It's probably not the way that you're going to get a lot of people to support you, is by saying that you are a lifetime member of the NRA. So clearly he's not paying attention to that and what kind of impact that can have. But more importantly, and this is what I want everybody to take back to your communities about this. Every state, in fact, I tweeted about this because it frustrates me. So most people haven't even read the U.S. Constitution, which appalls me. And by the way, there is an app for it. It is free. I have it on my phone, and everybody should. But all the states, yep. And then I've got it. I'll show you what the app looks like on my phone. I actually also have every federal law and regulation on my phone as well. And there's apps for all that. Not
running for governor.
But what'd you say?
John Voorhees said I should run for governor of Virginia.
I know. I've had a couple of people approach. I've actually had somebody offer me money to start a campaign to run for state rep, and I'm like, I'd rather be a thorn in their side. I don't want to be one of them. We also have, for people that you don't know this, every state has a state constitution as well. So I can guarantee you this dude hasn't read the state constitution, because the Washington state constitution says in two different areas. So under the duties of governor and under the duties of attorney general, I'm going to paraphrase this. You guys can look it up if you want. And I would guess that most states probably have a similar structure. Essentially, it says this state will not enact any laws that violate the Constitution.
Yeah, all states have it. The last state to add it was North Dakota, and it added it in 2013.
Okay, so there you have it. So that being said, so this law, first of all, it violates the U.S. Constitution and therefore the state constitution. But in addition, 1639 actually got on the ballot fraudulently. So a few weeks before before the election in 16 in 2016, it was pulled off because the writing was so small that people couldn't read it. And the people that were out um, people that had taken out the petitions to get it passed or to get it on the ballot were lying to people and telling them that it was a grocery tax. So it went to court. It was pulled from the ballot, and then miraculously 2 weeks before, it ended up on the ballot, and it was from some district judge who was very liberal and anti-gun. So my point is that this Sakharov guy doesn't even understand that this law, that he can use his executive power and remove and repeal this himself. Just take it because it was fraudulently added to the ballot, so therefore making it invalid. And number two, it violates not only the U.S. Constitution but the state constitution. So it bothers me that a man that's running for governor does not know that, and that's not acceptable to me. So if you don't know your own state's constitution and don't understand how that works, you have no business running for office. And thank you for coming to my Kerry talk. So if you look right there, oh, that's the wrong thing. I don't know if you can see it. That's well, no, damn it. Right here. That's the, I don't know if you can see it, or it's too glare. Anyway, that's what the Constitution, just go to U.S. Constitution and pull it up in your apps, and you can just keep it right there.
Anyone can get it's not really hard to get, so just run out there to get it.
You can get it free probably on Amazon too if you want in a paper copy, because I know you can also get Common Sense in the Federalist Papers and the Anti-Federalist Papers on there as well.
I buy these. I buy 1,000 at a time, and they're like $30.
Yeah, and you could you stamp like Black Swan Media on the back of them or something, right? Because they print it on there or something like that.
No, I just.
Oh yeah, because I know that they do that. You can have that done or whatever. But yeah, it's.
I don't want to do it.
Virginia's Constitution says that a well-regulated militia comprised of the body of the people trained in arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of the free state. So back to the Virginia thing. So, we had this 2A rally come up, and there were a lot of people, particularly a couple of them from Virginia, that were wicked pissed that they couldn't be armed and were causing all kinds of drama and were threatening to come armed and blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of crap going on. And my husband and I we sent these people private messages on social media and said, look, we get it. We hear you. We understand what you're saying. But if y'all just chill, just calm your ball sacks, we will help you organize an armed rally in Virginia. And that's what's happening now. So my husband I'll be at SHOT Show. He is flying back to Virginia to support that. He is from Virginia. He was born there. So he is flying back to help support that.
The Lava Day. It's down in Richmond. It's every year on the 20th.
Yeah. And so he'll be back there for that. And then so basically we said, we get you, we hear you, and we don't disagree, but we've got to be, let's not cause, and they were in particular disliked one individual specifically that they were really going after with the rally, and it's not important, but the point is that we're like, look, just keep a leash on it, and we will help support you. And so we've also offered that to every other state out there. So if your state doesn't already have an organized rally, we have one here every year annually, but those people were not going to attend. Actually, they did. A lot of them were there. Believe it or not, they ended up showing up. Yeah, they came up to me. They were there, G. Yeah, and they pleasantly surprised that they kept it together and they weren't, causing too much. They didn't cause any trouble. So I was impressed, man. Nobody caused trouble at that thing. I was really impressed with, seeing the Socialist Gun Club standing next to the 3%ers and shit. It was cool to see that, that these people legitimately came together with one common goal. It was impressive to watch.
What did Biden say about 9mm handguns?
Say that again?
Everyone's talking about 9mm handguns.
Because Joe Biden came out saying that we need to ban, after the shooting, that LA shooting, Biden came out saying that we need to ban 9mm handguns.
What an idiot.
Yeah, even though the kid killed himself with a 45. Yeah, and by the way, how is it that you shoot yourself with a 45 in the head, right? And not die? I'm not sure how that worked. But you notice that went quiet real fast, right? Because he didn't meet the perfect image of what the mass shooter looks like. So that went dead immediately. So they jumped back on. We had one protester that showed up in the back right before I started speaking, and he was like, "Oh, you baby killers," and all this stuff. And I told Rob and Jeff, I'm like, let him have the stage. I'll give him 5 minutes. He can have my time. Let's hear what he has to say. Because if, in all fairness, right, if we are truly wanting to make a change, we need to be able to listen to what other people have to say, right? We need to be able to be willing to hear, whether we like it or not, or how absurd it is. We have to be able to legitimately be able to have civil discourse. So, I mean, the reality is I looked at them both and I said, let him up there and let's see how he does with that. Good luck, right? Because it's going to be a joke. But I would have had no problem with that, and we should have, right? I mean, let him have his minute. Let him have his 5 minutes to show how ridiculous he is, because he's not going to say anything, and then somebody get it on camera. And then, like, we, the 2A community, said, hey, we gave this guy a stage, right? We gave him an opportunity to share with him our concerns, and this is the jackass that he was. So it could have been a really good marketing opportunity that was lost. And I get why they did it. I don't blame them for it. I mean, I get it. I don't blame them for it, but could have been a cool moment. So yeah, so the 45, it was an Asian boy from a more left-leaning family, Democrat. I think his dad was, and or from what I had read, and I have not continued to follow up on that. And then he used a 45, so he literally didn't meet any of the mold of any of that. But it cracks me up, Biden. Well, now we need to ban 9mm because Biden doesn't even know what kind of gun was you like this. And so then we had the mass shooting. They were trying to classify this mass shooting with the 3 people, and it was a suicide.
Oh, the wall.
Yeah. It was a guy that killed his ex-girlfriend and new girlfriend himself. Yeah. So that, you notice that's gone kind of quiet as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad when stuff happens, but it's gonna happen whether guns are legal or not illegal, and I just don't get why they don't realize that.
Yeah, no, and you know what you didn't hear about that I posted yesterday that just frustrates me is what you didn't hear about was the woman who left her ex, and he kept sending her text messages and mail and all this kind of stuff, telling her that he does not accept the divorce papers and that he's not accepting this divorce, and kept sending her pictures of guns and telling her that he was going to kill her. So she went and got a restraining order, and he killed her, their 3 young children, and I think he killed himself after that too. So didn't hear about that, did you?
No.
And that would be classified as a mass shooting, right? Because it was more than 3 people or whatever. But you didn't hear about that. You didn't hear about the woman in Florida who finally got away from her abuser after trying multiple times over and over and over again to get away from him. And she finally gets away, gets her own apartment, and he finds her, kills her, and dismembered her body. I mean, you don't hear about this stuff, right? So.
No, you don't hear about any of that stuff. You don't hear about, like, there was a mass stabbing in Baltimore about a month ago. You don't hear about that.
Yeah. And it frustrates the hell out of me that they, and so it really comes down to, what is it that we need to do, right? What do we need to do we don't, we being pro Second Amendment supporters, how do we get heard, right? Because we tend to stay in an echo chamber.
We have to circumvent the media. We have to make these things known, not only to people in the 2A community, which is important for them to know so they can go spread, but to other people outside of the 2A community, because we're not going to get mainstream media coverage, so it's up to us.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and we get the a huge majority, unfortunately, of the gun culture is they're just, well, it's not affecting me right now, so I'm just going to let it be. Well, it has affected you, right? I mean, it's like the YouTubers, and I'm not getting into all the drama with y'all over this, so don't even try. But understand that if you've chosen to be an influencer or a gun reviewer or any of that stuff, and you say that you don't want to be political, you literally have chosen the most political amendment to either as a hobby or as a profession. So guess what? You put yourself into politics. Like, I mean, whether or not the Constitution, because it was never intended to be a political document, it was not written by politicians, and the whole purpose was for it not to be. It has become that, and you have literally picked the one amendment that pushes the most buttons. The fourth being the second, which is also complementary to.
Are you talking about
the second?
Are you talking about Matt?
No, I don't know. I mean, I know lots of people. I don't know Matt, whoever Matt is, but I know several people that they're very much, we don't want to get political. We just like to shoot guns and we just want to review guns. I'm like, well, you're going to lose them guns. Then what are you going to do? Right. So, I mean, and some of these guys have, it's one of the things I like about Eric, right, Iraq veteran, is that he's got, 2 million plus subscribers.
And Tim Marston too. So
yeah, I was just gonna say military arms channel. He's got 1 million subscribers too on there or something, and they're willing to make statements and stuff out there and do that. So,
They're both going to be at the Gunathon.
Yeah, I'm so I'll be going to NRAM this year. It looks like I'm coming home and then changing suitcases, right? Because it's like the week after, something like that. So I'm planning on coming. I should be there. I haven't bought my ticket yet, but I plan on being there.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. Good. A lot of the same speakers are going to be at the Gunathon that were speaking.
So what is it? Are people speaking? Is it? I mean, what exactly?
People are doing meet and greets. It just depends. The speeches are going to be a little bit longer, and there's going to be also vendors there as well.
Oh, got it. Okay. Will there be a range day too, or anything like that?
Yeah, the range. It's really interesting. The place where we're holding it at, they have an event center attached to a shooting range.
Oh, cool. Okay, so they'll be shooting, so people will be able to shoot and stuff too, and
products. The new products you get to try out and see. That's like the shiny object to get people in there.
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Yeah, I think it'll be a cool thing to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going.
And Ahmad is going to close it out. He's going to be our closing speech.
Did you get a hold of Katie? Have Katie come?
Katie's coming. Yeah.
Katie can give a speech, man.
Yeah, Katie will be there. I think I might have just announced Tim Armstrong from Military Arms Channel, which is not announced yet, but I guess it is now.
Surprise! He's going to be there too. Yeah.
Tim's going to be there. Tim's a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of good people, man. It's gonna be a great time. Good night, Kermit. I'm baking. I'm gonna get your thing up probably tomorrow.
Tim was really great to me. He came to me. He approached me. He started following me a while back, and he approached me at the thing because I had never seen what he looked like because I don't watch those videos and stuff. So he came up to me and we talked for about 20 minutes. And I was grateful. He said, I really, he likes the work that I do and the voice that I'm bringing because I'm bringing a voice that nobody talks about with this DV thing and particularly with red flag laws and the concerns about red flag laws. So he's a very kind man. And and Eric and I just, certain people you meet and you're just like, click. And that's Eric and I. We have very similar political views, and just he and I got into it out at his range day for 2-3 hours, and just rabbit holes about government conspiracy. We just had a really good time. So I'm grateful to call him a friend.
I know it sounds spotty. It's not Peter though.
I don't know if it's me or him or I know because
when I meet you, watch. This is how I can prove it. Actually, I just go like this. See, now Kerry's muted, and I sound fine. I unmute Kerry, and it feeds back.
Is it? It's my hair.
I don't know what
it's the dynamics of my hair. Apparently, my hair has become a thing. I get teased a lot about my big hair because I have such big hair. In fact, I don't know if you saw, I posted, I have stilettos and shotguns was never supposed to be a thing, and she is now. So she's got her own little logo. And Ellen Anchor did it for me, and I had them. So there's a silhouette of a girl holding a shotgun, but I had them trace the fembots from Austin Powers, that fembot hair. They actually took an image and traced the hair and put it. So my gal on my logo, she's on my Instagram. If you see it, it's legitimate fembot hair. It was done on purpose because people tease that. So Drop my volume. I can try that. I did earlier, and it didn't help. Let's see if that helps a little bit.
It is for her mic. When she unplugs her headphone, I sound like Satan now.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys.
It's
See,
okay.
Kerry, red flag laws, another way for Nazis to disarm us. Yeah, not so here to the best channels that do both shooting and news media. I'm just going back and reading some of these. Red flag laws are my lane. It's what I speak on. It's what I I am considering starting to get into policy writing with it, because I understand it so well on multiple levels, and because I do, I'm grateful and was blessed for the opportunity that I had a mental health podcast. That's actually I did not know this at the time, but it's actually I mean, anything's international if it's on what do you call it? But it's like marketed specifically internationally, talking about being pro Second Amendment, but also and the right for a woman to defend herself, but understanding more importantly what the negative impact of of red flag laws are, and how it directly relates to mental health and gun control laws. So, and these are like in one of the individuals that asked me to be on this podcast, when he and I talked, because he came to GRPC, and he loves guns, and he's a pro Second Amendment guy and understands it, but he's a mental health provider and owns a mental health care facility. So he's not in the gun world. And he found me through Mike Sedini, who obviously, with Walk the Talk America. And I sat down with him for a couple of hours, and I explained some of them he knew and made sense, but a couple of them he didn't make the connection. And he looked at me and he went, when I went, yeah, this is the problem with some of these things. And so it was great to see that. And then he asked me to be on that podcast, which is right, as we as gun rights advocates or Second Amendment advocates, that's where we need to be. We need to be getting in these lanes outside of the gun. I mean, I love talking with my guys here, really. You know what I mean? I love that. But if we're going to start changing minds, we need to be able to get these audiences outside of there. So I was really grateful for that lane on that mental health podcast called Noggin Notes. You can find it on nogginnotes.com. I think it is. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, so I was grateful for that and helping. He says, this is literally information that we would have never known, because he also is the director of a domestic violence shelter. And I said, yeah, I mean, you're literally going to have women not getting help, or it's going to be used against them. And I mean, these are just surface pieces, but there's just multiple layers of this, that with the red flag law thing. And so I'm really hoping to be able to have the opportunity to do some policy writing on that.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Hopefully FPC will, because Brent, I mean, they know, right? So, and Craig, they know who I am and what I do. So maybe when the time comes, they'll have a chance to give me an opportunity to be on that.
Coffee with Craig.
I did do coffee with Craig, yeah, and I did it at GRPC, and he has to redo it because the audio was so bad, because the time that he started interviewing me was right as like when something got out, right? And so, where he was set up there in the hallway was just, he couldn't do it. So he actually messaged me and he says, I'm going to need to re-interview you. So I'll be back on it again.
Yeah, I was on coffee with Craig. It's a pretty cool show.
Well, I enjoy him. I think he's a great guy. He's just crazy smart and very articulate. And, I actually enjoy a lot of the guys with FPC. I'm a fan of the work they do, because they stay in that specific lane with litigation and are very, very good at it. And it's interesting because they end up with a lot of victories that people don't realize, because they just don't advertise some of them, some of the smaller ones. They had a red flag law one up here in Seattle that nobody knows about because they just don't talk about it. So it's good.
Yeah, FPC is a really good group. It's one of my favorite groups. GOA, of course.
Yeah, I need to. In fact, it's funny that you asked me on, because yesterday when you came on my live stream is this week, but I meant to do it today, and I ended up in this rabbit hole of fucking website hosting and websites and shit that I have no idea how to handle, and that sucked up my life. But I needed to do my GOA membership, so that's coming.
Yeah, if you go to gunowners.org/Black Swan Media, you can get actually $10 off. You can get a membership for 1 year for only $15.
So send me that link because I'm not going to remember that. Text me because I won't remember that. You know that. Come on now. So, but yeah, I will. I'm more than happy to. You know, we've got an organization here in Washington State called they're trying to do anyway, called what's it called? Washington State Firearms Coalition. And one gal in particular, she put a lot of work into doing all the paperwork behind it and getting it active as a nonprofit. But I went to their first meeting where they're actually trying to get structured.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't good.
Why is that?
They just so here's the deal for anybody that watches this. If anybody tries to cause drama with this, here's the thing. I like this gal that did it. I think she did a great job of writing what she did to get this active as a nonprofit. Interestingly enough, most people put way more effort into getting a nonprofit active than they need to. It's actually not that hard. Just fun fact. Especially if you're small and independent. Believe it or not, LegalZoom is actually quite effective. Maj directed me there. That's how I found it. Actually, G did. That's, for those that don't know, I like to joke the brains behind Maj is Janine, the G. But and that it was, I'm federally, I'm an active 501c3. So and it took no time at all. That being said, her skill set doesn't lie in being a leader and being able to put people in a room to be able to make something happen with structure. And like they had this whole, in fact, it's right here, I think. They had a whole, they had a whole outline of what they wanted to do. And none of this happened. And part of the reason none of this happened was because she, wasn't strong enough to tell people at STFU when they kept talking out of their asses. And we had one guy in there, this Brumbles guy. If you're from Washington State, this guy's got to go. He's running for attorney general. He is a joke. Like he was literally 2 years ago convicted of insurance fraud. And he's running, like a felony.
Well, the guy who just won one of the state senate seats in Virginia, who not only was convicted of statutory rape, but he has felony convictions for child porn.
Like, what is that, man? I can't. Well, okay, that tends to happen with election fraud, but anyway, this guy, he has absolutely no chance of winning. And he was an asshole, and he kept interrupting her. And then there was then everybody had to talk over everybody. And finally, one dude stood up and was making the point that I understood, but nobody was getting it. So I stood up and I said, "Now, what needs to happen is right now you take each one of these points that you have, right? Fundraising, outreach, IT, whatever. Go down the line. Have anybody in this room raise their hands and say, I'm good at that. I can help in that department. Okay, good. Boom, done. We will create a subcommittee and we will have that conversation and have those meetings later." She couldn't do it. So it concerns me that they're never going to be able to get anything moving forward because they don't have somebody. She needs to be able to hand that to somebody who's able to do that. And there were many people there that could. Otherwise, it's not gonna go anywhere. So because they have no they can't give you an outline, a formal structure of what it is that they're, how right, they've got a mission statement, but they can't show you how they're going to put forward making it happen, if that makes any sense. So and I know I sound like an a-hole because I'm just willing to be the person that and it's no reflection on people and their character, who they are. It's just some people have so it's where people's skill sets are, right? Some people have certain skill sets in certain areas and some people don't. And that's okay. But, to be a good leader, you have to be able to acknowledge where your weaknesses are as well as your strengths. So this guy here. So why is it? So what is the deal? So what's going on with this now? So he
got elected.
Right. So is there any conversation about this? Are they going to try to have him removed or,
No, they're not.
So is it not against, okay, this is where I need to go back and look at my constitution. I don't think it's against the law to be a felon and run for Congress, right?
You can't vote, but
he can't vote, but he can run for office.
Yeah, he can run for state office and win, even though that he got conviction for child porn and pedophilia,
So how are they explaining that away, that this was okay? Is that
they're not? He's just not addressing it.
Right. So there's right. Okay.
So
yeah, because I'm like, is there a logistics? You know how like the gray area logistics or whatever. Like I'm thinking about all of the ways that these things happen.
Basically like I'm not going to comment on it, and that's it.
Right, and so so the media won't cover this because of that or something. Is this
they'll cover it? The people don't care
until it's their kid, right? Until their kid is trafficked or until they're anyway, it's ridiculous. So we have a comment that says Democrats didn't vote him in. His district did. Somebody look up his district and what the percentage was going both ways. I'd be kind of curious to see that, just because I'm curious. This guy's a joke like AOC. I have a conspiracy theory about AOC. You guys want to hear it?
Are we there?
I have a conspiracy theory about AOC.
Okay, what's your conspiracy theory?
I'm convinced that she's a Republican plant to undermine them because of how stupid she is. Like, I'm convinced that she went as a Republican to actually completely be that idiot to undermine the Democrats in DC, because like it's bad. I mean, there's bad, right? And then there's that. And I'm like, nobody is that bad. Now she only got elected by like what, 17%? Because nobody in her district voted or whatever. So if somebody actually runs against her, they probably have a pretty good chance of beating her.
I want to have her and Gabby debate, because AFC's all for socialism.
Gabby Giffords?
No.
Is that what you said? Who?
No, Gabby from the 2A rally.
Oh, Gabby from the 2A rally. Oh, yeah. Well, she would never come to the table on something like that. Ever, ever, ever. So, I mean, so that's, yeah, see, AOC is a plant. See, I know. I'm just like, God, she's got to be. I mean, she was so dumb. She went after her own boss the first week she was there, right? She went after Pelosi. I mean, good Lord, come on now. So, yeah, I just think, well, here's the deal. I'm pretty convinced that Warren is going to get the nod. I don't know who they're going to put with her. I do believe it's got to be a man, because they're pushing another woman again is big enough news. But so I don't think they'll put two women up. Probably Biden, maybe. But I don't think Biden's arrogance could handle a VP nod. And the reality is I'm not. I know, John, you're definitely a fan of Trump. I'm indifferent. I mean, just more likely to. I'm not. I won't vote for him. I always vote third party. I have since I could vote. I'm very, very anti-party. But he's probably going to win, and it's not because he's all that great. It's literally because they've got nothing on the other side. And to me, this is one of these whole deals where, 10 years ago when they had Obama running against McCain and Palin, that I'm pretty convinced at that point that Republicans knew that there was no way in hell that a Republican was going to win after the Bush thing and the war and all that kind of stuff. So they threw up these two as the sacrificial lambs, took the time to reorganize, and then came back with what they're doing. Well, I think Trump ended up just kind of being that wild card anyway. But and I think that's what I think that's what the Democrats are doing now. Is I think that they realize that we just have to throw these people up to get them out of our hair, and then come back, regroup, and come back with a better marketing plan and better people. So because I think that's what they're doing, because people forget this whole people need to calm their asses on the what's her name, the Hawaiian broad, Tulsi Gabbard, right? Because the libertarians are loving her ass, and she is her state tried to repeal the Second Amendment. People, let's keep in mind what her stance is on guns. And but she's pretty, right? And that's the whole thing.
No, I think a lot of them a lot of libertarians like her because her stance on the First Amendment.
It's her stance on the First Amendment and the insurance and all of that. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Yeah, I mean, I get why a lot of people say that they like her. I get what they're seeing, but what they don't realize is it's what her stance is 150% irrelevant. Because it's not about her stance, it's about what the DNC wants her to do, right? So at some point, if she's ever going to want that nod and move forward, she is going to have to bow to the DNC.
I don't think she will, though.
Well, I don't. That's why I don't think she'll never get a nod. for that
No,
reason.
girl,
Yeah,
I think,
she's not a threat to me. I'm not worried about her for that reason.
yeah, I think the First
Yeah.
Amendment issue. I think she's a true believer in the First Amendment. Second Amendment, she's not too much of a believer, but on the non-interventionist stand and her stand on the First Amendment is something that she deeply believes in.
And good, that's great. But the Second
So
Amendment protects all the other ones. And so if you don't support the Second Amendment, that's it. End of
Yeah,
story,
but
as far as I'm concerned.
so I don't think it
Yeah.
would change to fit the DNC. So I don't think they'll ever get the nod. I think
Yeah, I agree.
be Mayor Pete. Warren would be a disaster for the Democrats if she ran because she's openly socialist.
Who is that?
Warren.
Yeah. Elizabeth Warren, I think she's going to get the nod.
I don't think so. I think
You don't think so? Who do you think is going to get it?
I think it's going to be Pete Buttigieg or whatever his name is.
Buttigieg?
Buttigieg, yeah.
Buttigieg? The
Mayor Pete?
openly. I don't think so because he's openly gay, and I don't think that
Yeah,
while I'm down with that, I could give a shit. This country is not ready for an openly gay.
Yeah, but the Democrats are. You gotta remember,
The Democrat, you're correct. The Democrats are, but the DNC has a bigger agenda to get rid of certain people and get them out of their hair. And by running Warren or Biden and having them lose, now that they're out of their hair. So, right, because they've got a bigger mission, right, which is the DNC, not the individual. So it's because I'm pretty convinced they know that they're not going to win at this point. I think that what it's going to come down to is, okay, who is screwing shit up for us, and who do we need to get rid of? And that's those two, for the most part. You still think it's going to be Biden? Man, Biden's getting like a little, like there's some dementia stuff going on with that guy. I think he's
Well, no. Did you see where talking about AOC, where basically she was calling Obama right wing because Obama called out as socialist?
Well, did you see Obama came out, like he came out the other day and made a statement. He's not endorsed anybody yet, and everybody's like, how come you're not even endorsing your old VP? I'm going to paraphrase what he said because I'm not going to be able to say it verbatim, but essentially he's like, yeah, the Democrats aren't doing so hot right now because they've gone to the extremist side. And he's like, so it's like somebody made the comment. They're like, yo, it's got to be bad when Obama's like, you guys have lost your minds.
Yeah, that's why like AOC was like, oh, he's right wing now, blah blah blah, whatever.
No, he's not. But he's I mean, it's true. Like, I mean, not even that. Like, what's that? The English guy, the journalist English guy.
Piers Morgan.
Piers Morgan is like, people are calling him a conservative now because he's like, y'all have lost your minds. And he's like, not at all. He says, I'm actually consider myself and still proud to consider myself a liberal. He says, but I can see the bullshit. Like, you guys have absolutely gone off the, like, as they say in film, right? Or in TV, you've jumped the shark. And like, they've gotten to that point where they've just gotten so extreme. And, Elizabeth Warren specifically coming out, making this huge scene, which to me was incredibly patronizing and pandering, that she had to make this huge public announcement about the fact that, like, Black transgender something that identifies endorsed her. Like, I'm like she had to go out of her way to make a point of whatever this was. It was, and we're like, okay. Like, it was ridiculous. It was just something silly. So, and if you go on her Twitter, she actually has her identifying pronouns.
I know. I hate that shit.
In her profile.
I'm a he, she. Oh my God.
I've got some, I could give a shit. I've got some friends that are trans, and the ones that I know, I have a lot of them actually. And the one of them, the ones that I know that I met after they transition or going through it and living as the opposites, sex, those are easy. But for me to remember their pronouns. But the ones, like, I've got a couple of them that I knew before and they've come out, and I just call them tramp until I get used to it because I can't. But fortunately, they're also patient. I mean, they don't get all dramatic about it. Most of them don't really. But I'm like, you're still Steve. I'm still like getting like I can't like I've got a cousin, right? Like who was Catherine. She wants to be called Kate now. Like I can't even remember that, let alone a pronoun, right? I can't even remember when somebody wants me to change out what they're called.
Well, in New York, if you stir it up, this is going to be challenged in court, of course. It's just going into effect soon. I think after the first of the year, and it's going to be challenged in the court like immediately. But they want to fine you. They want to fine you, like, and you can actually face jail time for using the wrong pronoun for someone.
So that in the state of California, last year. There were 2 laws that passed, and I was absolutely blown away. Well, one that it was written to kind of repeal it, to pull it back, and that is you no longer have to tell someone that you have HIV before you have sex with them. So
yeah, that was ridiculous.
But at the same time, and the one that got buried, which is never mind. I don't want you to get defunded. Which is
go ahead.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous is they pass, right? They don't have all these problems there, right? Like they don't have people like homeless people dying on the street of disease in the fucking feces on the ground, right? He passes a law that says that if you work in a healthcare facility for the elderly, like a retirement center or, one of these types of places, and you repeatedly refer to a dementia patient as the wrong pronoun, that you can be fined $5,000 and put in jail for 6 months. So I don't know if you've ever worked or been around dementia, people with dementia, they could change their pronoun every day, right? Because so I'm like, right. So you guys have people dying in the street of disease because they're sleeping in feces. But we're going to fine people for using their own gender working in a dementia unit. I just was like the ridiculous level is just, it's off the chart. I can't believe it. What does G here say? Kerry says they are going to lose how much of this extreme stuff is market research for them to evaluate a tax going forward. It's actually a really good point. Yeah. I mean, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're just watching the demographic and stuff. I think that, this is right. We're in a section, right? We're here. We're going to come out of this, and right, because it's just like with the feminism thing. You guys know that, I have a stance on feminism because I am one, because I know what it really is. And it's like the feminism pendulum, right? It's always here and then it comes over here and it never quite settles in the middle. And we're over here and having our, feminazi vaginas on the head crap going on. And these women are literally creating the very situation that they don't want. Which makes me nuts. But at the same time, I have a lot of ultra conservative women. Now that I'm into the gun world, one of them was really nasty to me, and I can guarantee you know who she is. Like she's got that big of a presence. You would know her. I'm not gonna tell you who she is, but I've got the screenshots. I screenshot it because I just had a feeling that I needed to save it. Telling me that I was too harsh and abrasive, and that and it was I know you're a feminist, but because she's anti-feminist, and I'm like, you probably should be, because huh?
I said Cheryl Todd.
It was not Cheryl Todd. I've
actually
and I actually gave her some interesting perspectives on that. She interviewed me for she writes for Women's Outdoor News. And this year was the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment being voted on by Congress and being approved. And she interviewed me about that. Because she knows that I understand what feminism is. And she asked me from the feminist perspective and stuff. Yeah. So I've had some really good conversations with her about changing that perspective about what that looks like and things. And it's because I teach the philosophy of it and the history of it, not it as movements, because we had women during the Revolutionary War that were doing some pretty badass feminist things before it had a name, so and it's important, right? It's like today's International Men's Day. Happy International Men's Day. And ladies, you need to be appreciating your men. It's important.
I don't believe in any other international.
I don't either, but I acknowledge International Women's Day, and so therefore I had to acknowledge International Men's Day because it was important. As somebody who believes in equality, I felt it fair that I needed. Do I think they're both silly? Yes. But if I'm somebody who's going to speak and practice what I preach for my platform, it was important for me to acknowledge those. Since I acknowledged one, I wanted to acknowledge the other.
No, John Voorhees wants to know if it was Shannon Watts.
It was not Shannon Watts. No, it was an ultra conservative, alt-right conservative woman.
Alt-right or remember, alt-right is that's when you get into like the Nazis, the white supremacist people.
I think if you got under the layers, possibly, but that's my speculation. Let me make that as a formal statement. She's pretty hardline Baptist Christian. This is God's country, and I don't ever need to go anywhere outside of Texas, kind of shit, right? She's pretty hardline, man. So
I don't think I know any women from Texas.
You would know who she is. She's a personality. She's recently had quite the success with a video going viral. I can guarantee you know she is. So it doesn't matter though. You guys stop trying to get me to tell you because I'm not going to tell you who it is. So you little shit starters.
Viral.
What'd you say?
A video that went viral recently.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you. So I'm not. But Shannon Twats, she blocked me. She didn't want to have anything to do with me, and I can't. That woman. She doesn't even. She's not even involved with the organization anymore. I think she just has become a mouthpiece at this point. I didn't even know that she's out there. There's a bunch of women in Texas, and there's a bunch of women like that in Texas, which is why I didn't mind saying the state because it's not gonna. You guys won't know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it's Shannon Watts is a giant pain in my. Look at her try to look it up. You're not going to know who it is. I'm not going to tell you who it is. So, and look, you crack me up. Look at him trying to find who it is. I didn't give you enough information for you to know who it is. So, see, Matt here says, I had a neighbor with dementia. He was a mechanic and I find him trying to work on my cars. He grew up, does he do good stuff to your cars? I mean, or does he kind of F them up? So, because that would be the bigger question. He can't let this go. So maybe I'll tell you later, but I'm not going to tell you now. I'm not going to tell you online. You're not going to get me formally saying it. I'll whisper it in your ear again.
Oh, I know who it is.
I don't think you do. Put it in the private chat, but I don't think you do. I bet you're wrong. Everybody's like, ah. And mind you, if you know me and you followed me, you know that I'll blow shit up. No, it was not her. Not that big. She's not that big. I think she wants to be. She wants to be her, but it wasn't her.
Well, what do you put in the private chat then? I'm not going to say anything.
No, because I'm not going to give you any evidence. I'll give it to you. Call me on the phone. I'll tell you on the phone. Yeah, I think she would like to be her, honestly. So, Two Gun Kitty, the catnap outlaw. I like that. That's great. Cats and guns. Yeah, so he's guessing Tommy Lahren. Yeah, that's exactly who he guessed, but no, it wasn't her. I don't know Tommy. This one, she followed me for a while, and that's how she knew that, right? Because Tommy Lahren doesn't follow me. But yeah, she followed me for a while and just felt it, and went out of her way, out of the middle of nowhere. I get this private message. Telling me that I'm harsh and abrasive and that I need to change my tactic. I mean, like, she was literally mansplaining me. And I've never in my, women don't typically do that to each other. I mean, we get it from men, but yeah, and that does happen, gentlemen. Unfortunately, it's a thing. But I was like, she went there. Like, she felt like her piety was enough to be able to do that. And I was like, and I said, she said, I just think that, you really don't need to, it's unnecessary. And I said, but I'm being heard. Aren't I? And when I wouldn't agree with her or capitulate, then she, and I wouldn't continue to engage her in conversation because I knew at that point there was nothing good that was going to come out of the conversation because she kept going, right? She kept trying to sell me on that I needed to change my ways. And I was like, okay. And I just stopped responding to her. And then she, a couple weeks later, she unfollowed me in a dramatic to do. And I'm like, okay, I don't fucking care.
They want to know.
Bye, Felicia. I don't care. I don't care. So men don't typically break down other women. No, they do. They do actually, and they mansplain a lot. What I'm saying is women don't typically, out of the middle of nowhere like that, randomly do that stuff to each other. If they don't know them or have much interaction with them prior to that, they don't. So, but like men, it happened to me today on my post over my new logo. I had one guy says, I think you need to do this and this and this. Well, I didn't ask. I didn't ask for your opinion, and I don't know who you are. Like I didn't know who this guy was. Like, you know, I had never seen him. I don't know how long he's been following me. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him comment ever on my posts. And out of the middle of nowhere, this is the first interaction I have with him. So,
Are you sure she's from Texas?
huh?
Are you sure she's from Texas?
He can't let this go. It's super funny. It's cracking me up. I love it. It's awesome. It is not Dana. No, Dana. Nah, Dana wouldn't say that. Dana wouldn't say it because Dana would support the way I communicate. If it was Dana, because Dana's pretty savage herself.
I think I know who it is.
Two Gun Kitty Catnip Outlaw. You met me at the rally. Who are you? It was not Caitlin Bennett. You know.
Never mind. That was who I was about to say.
What'd you say?
That's who I was about to guess.
Oh, yeah, you can put it in the private chat. But
I was about to put it in the private chat.
You met a friend of mine this weekend. Oh, you met Stephanie Lord. Stephanie Lord, actually, John, you should have her on your show. She's pretty amazing. She's this 6 foot tall Amazonian redhead, and she's a biker. And she is a domestic violence survivor, and she is down there fighting hard in New Mexico. Like, she is everywhere. She's down at the Capitol, and she is in the face of legislators, and she is fighting the fight down there. That woman is badass, and I really enjoy her. She's intelligent. She's no compromise. She's very similar personality to me. So, and you can handle my personality, you'd be able to handle her. But she's cool. I like her a lot. She'd be somebody to. It was Mrs. Claus. It was Mrs. Claus.
No, I have two. I have it narrowed down to 2 people, I think.
Nope. It wasn't that big. It's nobody that big. She's crazy though. That one is. I like watching her though, and I appreciate, like, she's a little out of my wheelhouse. She's a little extreme for me. But she is Laura Loomer is who we're talking about. But I appreciate the fact that she does not give a shit and that she is fighting as tooth and nail as she can. I admire her tenacity, and I admire her passion for calling out what she does. She's, like I said, she's a little extreme for me, but and that's saying a lot because I'm pretty extreme. But she's I appreciate her fighting. So yeah, Stephanie Lord. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would have her on. She's pretty great stuff. I can, if you want me to, John, if you're interested. I mean, let me know later. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the person I really think is not from Texas, from Canada.
Nope. I love that you're obsessing about this. I think it's super cute. No, I doubt you're an average guy, and you have to remind me who you are when I met you, because I met a lot of people there. But New Mexico.
Average guy, come on, that's not. Yeah,
I don't know who that is, so I don't know who the Two Gun Kitty Catnip Outlaw is. I think it's hilarious. I love that
everyone
name.
knows Two Gun Kitty.
Huh?
Everyone knows Two Gun Kitty. I thought Two Gun.
I don't. But my husband is usually like, because his whole thing is cats and guns. There's actually a picture of one of my cats posting, and by my cats I mean my husband's cats, because we have 4 and they're his. Well, 3 of them are his. They're all black, but Javier, the rescue kitty, posing with an AR, and he's got some mad paw triggered discipline.
Does she make videos?
She does make videos. Yeah.
On YouTube.
I'd have to know what her YouTube name is. I don't remember what her name is. So it's, God, you're cracking me up. Yeah. So have you had somebody on, if you're doing state to state, have you had someone on from New Mexico?
No, I would love to have her on.
She'd be the one to have on. Yeah. I'll text her tonight, and I'll actually, if you don't mind, I'll put you guys into a Facebook group chat and introduce you, and you guys can do your thing. So yeah, the Black Rifle Coffee guys, I've never met them. I'm
I can,
actually an EDC drinker. I was a Black Rifle girl, and then I just when I went to the IV88 range day, they had EDC coffee out there, and I bought some. I really like their coffee, so I'm a convert to EDC.
yeah, I could go to range day this year.
I had a blast, and it was interesting. I had a couple of guys from the manufacturers. They walked up to my husband, and one of them who couldn't let it go was like, "Do I know you? Where do I know you from?" My husband's like, "You don't." And he says, "No, I'm telling you, I know you. You're from blah blah blah." And my husband's like, "No, I was literally deployed until May," and he wouldn't let it go, and he kept looking at him, and he says, "Actually, I'm with her." And he goes like this. He does this, and he looks back at my husband, and he keeps talking to my husband, and I touched the guy's forearm right here, and I said, "He's my +1 here." And he looked at me again and looked right back at my husband and completely ignored me. So for those of you gentlemen out there who think that this doesn't happen, my husband has watched it happen a few times. Happened a couple times at GRPC, and it happened out at even Ira. And I can tell you, I never told Eric, and I mean I would, right? If I could remember the guy's name, I would tell him. But Eric would be pissed if he knew, right? Because that's Eric would not tolerate that shit at all. And it wasn't somebody he invited. It was one of the manufacturer's employees that was like that. But he wasn't the only one. There was more than one. He was the only one that ignored me. But there were a few that thought my husband was the one that was there. And I'm like, no, it's me. And I had a blast. We got that what do you call it? Hurricane came through there, right? So that first day we were there, oh man. And that was like, I just listened to Charlie Cook was on the We Like Shooting podcast last night. And I watched it today because they were talking shit about me. Because Aaron, that little bastard, jumped in this mud puddle and just sprayed. I got pictures of it I'm going to put up because I was just like I looked like somebody just mud bogged right over me. I'm like, okay, you little shit. So I've got to remember that. So for those of you that don't know, the We Like Shooting guys, that's like Sean Heron and all those guys, they're buddies. They're friends of mine. And I have officially reached bro status with them as the joke because they call me bro and they treat me as one of the guys. And it's pretty funny. So that those guys are fun. And they were out there and we all were really having really trying hard not to, like, part of one of the ranges, one of the actual lanes on the range turned into a giant like swimming pool of just mud and water, and all of us were like trying not to go jumping. It was pretty funny. You felt uncomfortable at the 2A rally because my husband wasn't around. I wasn't sure if she knew how to talk right to a dude face to face, but she did real good. Suck it, G. My husband was there. My husband was there.
Yeah, I met her husband.
G-Web's
ninja. I was talking.
Yeah, he is a ninja. He's totally a ninja. Because I finally met him at the 2A rally. He's like, Kerry.
There's three of us talking to. Oh, he wasn't like the week before. He was in Vegas. I was in Vegas for an event. He was in
bastard.
And like I took a picture of you or something like that. And like I never met him out of Vegas. But then I sent him a text like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "I took a picture of you." I'm like, so it comes up and it's a 3-hour conversation. We're all talking, then all of a sudden, like me and my other friend, he's gone.
Kerry can make people can make a mistake with identity. I'm not sure. I must have missed something in that conversation. Yeah, my husband was there. Oh, when I talked to you, he wasn't standing right there. Yeah, he left after a while. I mean, he doesn't do big crowds and stuff. I told him, I'm like, because we're having this big conversation about SHOT Show right now, and he'll miss. So here's the deal, right? Because he's committed to go help support these guys at this armed rally in Virginia. And so even if he leaves Tuesday, right, and then he flies back, I mean, we have a teenager. I don't want to leave her alone. I mean, she's cool alone for a few days by herself. She's 17, but I don't want to leave her alone for a whole week. And I'm like, yeah, by the time you get there, it's gonna be like Tuesday night at SHOT Show, and then Wednesday. I'm like, I don't, at the best, right? Wednesday morning at the first. So I don't, and then he hates crowds. I mean, he can enjoy what's going on, but that show is so overwhelming that I just don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to be a good fit for him to go. So I ain't got time to wait around. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So yeah, he was in and out, but he couldn't, he was just over it. He had to leave. There's just too much going on, and he couldn't just sit inside and watch the speakers because he gets bored and then standing outside. It's just anyway. So he left and it was fine. I mean, it's good. No, white girl was not Antonia Okafor, but remind me to tell you a story about her later. So, it was. I love that you can't let it go. It's funny. So yeah, yeah, I was glad that I got to meet G finally at the rally. And yeah, Mark was out in the crowd with his daughter, and I went and walked out in the crowd. That's one thing. If I had any constructive criticism to give to the rally, and particularly the speakers, is that there were only a couple of us that actually made the effort to go walk around in the crowd and meet people and interact with people, and several of them didn't. And I think that it was a tragic missed opportunity for the speakers and these people of influence to be able to get out and interact with and engage with people one-on-one, and to be able to listen to some of what they have to say. And thanks, you guys. You're so sweet. I appreciate that. I think the word was gremlins is what Liv called me, right? I create gremlins. I create advocate gremlins. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Because that's what I want to be. I don't want to be if me being out here being loud and in everybody's face is what gets me heard to inspire you to become involved, that's what it's about for me. I've been in the public eye for 20 years. I have a very successful business. I'm a real estate investor. If I could be quiet and behind the scenes, if I could be G and be bringing attention to domestic violence and gun rights the way I do, I would. I can't. Part of it is me being out here in your face with who I look like and who I am, and that's part of what does it. So for me, that's a thing. So that being said, my goal is to bring people to this gun culture, because everybody truly is welcome. And I want to make sure that they know that they need to be advocates for their own rights. And, what's interesting is somebody went out of their way. I don't know if they went out of their way, but they noticed it. And I didn't even catch this, Rolo. But that picture of Sincere and you and Joe and I on the street, and then scrolling through all the pictures that were there of Chelsea and everybody at the thing, somebody made a comment about, the diversity of that group and how it's for everybody, and how, it was cool to see that inclusivity. And here's the thing, right? Because this is where I didn't even notice that. I didn't even notice it, but I looked through it and I was like, literally, we had almost every sort of, there were a few ethnicities that were missing there, but we had like this whole inclusive group of people. And I didn't even think about that. So it was cool. Yeah. Because we need to be bringing more people like that on board, particularly like Latinos and Asians and things, because like the gay people are starting to be heard a little bit. Black people obviously are having their moment in gun culture, but there's still some individuals in their own cultures that I don't think are being acknowledged or being as active as they could be. And so my goal is to do that. So I've got this group of people that I mentor and work with, and then I have another group that I created of just Latinos that are in Southern California. And I'm trying to get them organized and together to start fighting in California, because there's a lot of Latinos in California, if you weren't aware. So, and one of them, and a couple of them are in LA County, one's in Orange County. So I'm trying to get them together and get them organized and get them moving forward with a plan down there to get out in their communities and get people educated, get the Latino community in LA educated with their gun rights. So, see, in all fairness to the speakers, I think they were caught up with them meeting each other, but see, that's not okay, because they all knew each other. Most of them, I shouldn't say that, because there was a lot of them I didn't know. And I'm not trying to sound, I don't mean for that to come out shitty, but a lot of them were friends. They were hanging out and bullshitting, because I was back there, right? I had my access or whatever, right? Because I was a speaker. So, and I get that. And I was able to meet some. I didn't. There was a couple of them I didn't get to meet. I didn't get to meet Hickok. I met John, because John and I have talked a lot on social media. So we finally got to meet John Hickok, his son. Okay. But I didn't get to meet Dad. There was a couple of them I didn't get to meet. Todd Fossey I got to meet. Todd Fossey actually approached me and was like, he's become very supportive of me. That dude's a badass, man. I had no idea. So he's pretty cool dude. And I got to meet, what's his name, the old Brady campaign guy. And I love that. I love that he was there and stepped up to do that. That's pretty impressive. I didn't get that a secret. I was talking to her for a few weeks. Forever a big secret.
And I told people, I was like, "Dude, there's a guy that's gonna like surprise everyone," and everyone's like, "Oh no,
Yeah.
the guy's the surprise, just gonna surprise everyone." It's like,
Yeah.
and people are guessing like, "Is it Ted Nugent?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, no. Yeah, and I knew as a speaker, right? He had us, Jeff had us in a speakers group chat kind of a thing. So I knew his name, but I didn't know. I never bothered to look up his background, right? So I didn't know that. But it was cool. Yeah. So that was cool. And I actually got a chance. I talked to him for about 10, 15 minutes, and it was cool. That he's a cool guy. But honestly, I really think that yeah, you're right. Chris should have been there. Yeah, he should have been at the breakfast, and we would have had a full house there. I do think that that was an opportunity that I hope that they are going to do this again next year. It's going to be in October, and I do hope that there's a lot of Latinos in your hood. Spoiler alert, white Jewish boy in LA. You didn't know they're in LA. They got a lot of Latinos.
Matt and I, Cowboy, he was filming it. We met a woman of Jewish descent.
The one with the sign.
Yeah.
I took a picture with her because I sent it to Yehuda.
Yeah, I went up and talked to her, and she was very passionate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it blows my mind that there are Jews that are anti-gun. Like, it blows my mind that of anybody, right? Because this type of thing that happened to the Jewish people is not independent of just Jewish people, right? This has gone on through centuries. It just happens to be one of the biggest and one of the most recent. I mean, there's stuff going on internationally, but in other countries right now. But this is a thing, right? And it blows my mind that there are Jewish people that don't support gun rights. I can understand logic behind a lot of the reason why people don't, for fear or whatever. All of their reasons why they don't. That's one I just cannot wrap my brain around. I don't get it. I can't understand why any Jewish individual would support gun control. Just don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spanish is my third language. Yeah. Everybody in my house is bilingual. Well, both of my daughter and my husband speak it. My husband speaks conversational Arabic and can understand Chinese. He can't really speak it, but he can kind of, that and Tagalog, he can kind of muddle through from work. But conversational Arabic he learned when he was living in the Middle East.
Philippines. So.
Huh?
Like, very close to my heart because I lived in the Philippines.
Did you? Yeah, I don't understand it at all. But he can, just from working with a lot of Filipinos, he can speak a little Tagalog. But I mean, nothing like Arabic. He can kind of get by. He can't read it, of course, but he can kind of get by.
My wife's Italian. So
your wife is what?
Italian.
Oh, so do you speak Spanish and Italian then?
No, I don't speak Italian. I mean, I can understand a lot of Italian, but I mean, Italian was our first language.
That's my my stepfather, excuse me. He was Sicilian, half German, half Sicilian. So German, I know a little German, and Italian, just a lot of getting yelled at as a kid. But German, I started learning it in my 20s. But just like, that's not like riding a bike, and if you don't use it, you lose it. On languages, for sure. So
I used to be fluent in German, but not anymore.
Huh?
I used to be fluent in German.
Yeah, well, and it's like, I've got one of my best friends is a German woman here, and she's like, "Why you won the war?" Like as a German living in America and has for 20 years, like, they don't encourage it. Her husband, who's American, will speak more with me, but she won't. Now they'll get into conversations at dinner when we're all out, and I can understand them, which is but I can't always speak back to them. But it shocks me to see that Jews who are anti-gun and studied World War II, surprises me that they're anti-Jew. They didn't study World War II. They know the dates and the highlights that their people died, but they didn't understand it. So I think that has a lot to do with it, and it's been watered down like all of our history has been, which is why we're here and why we're in the problem we're in. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kerry, it's been really nice talking with you. You said you only had a half an hour.
Yeah, I had a feeling that because you and I like to bullshit, so I moved a couple of things around and did them earlier today so that I didn't have to do them tonight so we could chat.
Yeah, it's been like an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah. I knew because I don't get to chat with you very often, and so I wanted to make sure that I had that extra time, and so
The first time I met you was at a Maj thing.
Yeah, and then I did your show that night, and then just interactions through. We've done some live streaming and stuff together, but so I wanted to make sure that I made a point of rearranging. So I did a bunch of stuff earlier today that I needed to do tonight. So yeah, I'm
Yep.
gonna have that time.
Look me up. I would love to hear about what's going on in New Mexico and stuff like that. I want to try to get as many people from as many different states on as possible.
I've got.
I would.
Well, you had what's his name on from Idaho, Martin. So that's good. If you got Idaho, Utah. I think I've got somebody from Utah for you.
Your 2A thing.
Huh?
I met Martin at the 2A thing.
Yeah, Martin's cool. I think I've got. Who did I was just talking to somebody from Utah. Oh, it was a guy a new guy, real new guy. He's just starting his own podcast. JD's Guns and Gear, and he's in Utah. In fact, I've got a really great. I did a podcast with him the second time just recently, because he tried to get to the rally and just he couldn't make it work. And but he said last night, he said, I'm going to have you back on the show in January because this is an accountability thing for me. He says, I am going tomorrow to a city council meeting because you have inspired me to get involved. So that was really cool. So if you want to chat with him, I can get, so I've got Utah for you if you don't have a Utah. And I'll have to think about some of the other ones. I don't know anybody in the Dakotas. Well, I might. I mean, I'm sure somebody that follows me does. But I mean, a lot of those states aren't hotbed states for gun control, so you don't hear about them popping up too much.
Two Gun Kitty, thank you so much for the link. I just saw the link you sent me. I am definitely going to look into that.
Yeah, I do. I like to talk. I've got a lot to say, man. Shut up, Rolo. Suck it. Yeah, so I will tell you guys this. I do want to tell everybody I'll be advertising it tomorrow, and then the formal Friday, I believe, is when I'm actually going to put it out. I am grateful that Roy Hill from Brownells, who's their marketing director, has he and I sat down and had a chat, and Brownells has partnered with Stilettos and Shotguns to help do some fundraising for We the Female. And I have a Loophole spotting scope to raffle off, and I've got a Trijicon RMR as well. I need to see if I've not opened the box. I've got the box over here and I've not opened it yet. But in the box is I got to see if the mounts are in there too, because I think I have the mounts for the RMR too. I'm not sure about that. But I'll be announcing those raffles. So 100% of the raffle money will go strictly to We the Female. So not only do you get to enter to win a $1,300 or a $300 or $400 spotting or RMR from Trijicon. So the spotting scope's $1,300 retail, and then the other is like $350, $450, something like that. The RMR. That donation that you're entered in the raffle is tax deductible. So
I might have to do it.
That off. I'll tell you. So what I'm going to do is the RMR. It'll be a $25 donation, and you'll be entered. The spotting scope is having a bigger. That's right, because that's a nice one. It'll be a $50 donation, or if you make a $100 donation, you will get 3 entries. So, nice. How's that for a carrot? So, and 100%, like I said, 100% of the money goes directly. I don't get paid. I do not take a paycheck or get any pay whatsoever from We the Female and the work I do. I'm grateful to be in a position where the day job that I've semi-retired from still gives me a paycheck. So I don't need to collect a paycheck, but it helps with all the extra expenses and running the websites, right? Like paying for that kind of stuff, or my travel to go teach my classes and do the speaking and stuff. So yeah, so that'll be up. That's one of the things I'm going to do and get that up and going. Friday, and so for Christmas, you guys want to give somebody a spotting scope for Christmas for a $50 or $100 chance? Not so bad.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
a nice one. That was a nice one. I was grateful for that. That was cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
My giveaway is coming to an end soon for entries. You got a couple more weeks at the end of the month. If we cut off entries, then we will all review the videos and pick it about a week later. 2aproject.com. 2aproject.com, yeah, but courtesy of Century.
I'd love to talk to you about that at some point, partnering up maybe to do that when I teach my classes, so that we can get because the women in the classes a lot, to talk about that. I'd like to.
Well, this is this month is that we're going to be doing an AR giveaway for a single dad next month. So we're going to take like people like single dads, single parents.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I'd love to see us do one. I'd love to partner up with you on it and do one for a domestic violence survivor.
Yeah, it's just like thing for like people who the situation in life prevents them from something.
I love it. Arm the women. Hashtag arm the women. I've hijacked that hashtag.
All right, there you go. Yeah, you know my whole reason why the Second Amendment and women arming women is important to me. My mom, remember when I was a baby? I told the story like 3 freaking times.
No, once, but I remember that now. That it was in that first that Fireside the podcast. I remember it now.
Yeah,
I remember that now. Yeah, I do. I do remember
my mom
now.
was able to use a firearm to defend me and her, my sister, when I was 1 under the age of 1.
Yeah, I do remember that now. I do remember that now. And that's tragically, it often takes something like that before we realize that we need, or we are a victim of a crime where we survived, before we realize that we need to, take responsibility for our own safety, because the cops are not coming to save you.
No, I talked to Diana Muller about that.
Yeah, yeah. Nor do they have to. They have no obligation to.
Nope.
Yeah. So, hey, John, it's good to talk to you. And everybody, thanks for John and Mark and Rillo and G-Webs. Love you. You are amazing, man. That dude, if you guys don't know what he does, you guys need, that dude is like the heart of behind running everything behind. Like he's got his fingers in like the technicals of everything. I almost, not quite, but I feel like it behind the gun culture, man. Like you're like the ninja, the 2A ninja. 2A Gun Kitty. I don't want to forget anybody. If I'm forgetting you, I'm sorry. Thank you, Liv, for watching, everyone. Hanging out, chatting with us.
It was a good chat. Sorry I couldn't make it last night, G-Webs. I was sleeping by the time I saw your...
I always forget. I should just give you my cell phone number and have you text me, because that's how if you want to get a hold of me, that's how you just give you that so you can get a hold of me and tell me.
Well, it's at midnight on the East Coast. So anyway, you can also, if you'd like what I do, consider becoming a Patreon online. You'll get a free sticker and some other cool stuff and some cool giveaway stuff. Or you can just make a one-time donation. One thing I do with all my Patreon money and everything else like that, I don't actually use it to actually make money. I use it to do stuff like the 2A project or 2A stuff, or fund people, or sponsor podcasts and do stuff like that, sponsor websites, just to get the message out there. It's very, very important to me. Or if you also can go to Black Spawn Tactical and get cool ass flags, stickers.
Yeah, those stickers that are badass. I gotta have one of those. I love that sticker.
Yeah, shirts too. We've got some really cool shirts on there, hoodies, a bunch of crap.
I have some of that coming, by the way. I've just sat down and figured out how to design a couple of things. And so that T-shirt that post I had of me in that graphic holding the gun, where it says she's a beautiful, beautiful badass something. I don't even remember what it says, but don't touch her without asking. I'm turning that's going to be a T-shirt coming out here pretty soon. And I have a couple of other little things that are coming out.
I mean, if you need help finding teacher people, I have.
Yeah, possibly. It's, for me, it's one of those deals where they have to be willing to, because I'm a nonprofit, and for me, it's about getting as much revenue as I can. I'm also going to be partnering with a few other people with some affiliate programs too. And so if you shop through these people, 100% of that money goes to fund my thing. I have a Patreon too, We the Female Patreon, and a GoFundMe for We the Female. I'm not really good about. I have a hard time asking for money. I like to find ways to monetize it in other ways, like this raffle and stuff. But I should probably be better about starting to say stuff like that. So if you do support me and you like what I do have a Patreon, We the Female, and I do have a GoFundMe, We the Female. So I know I should be better about it.
If you want to support the Boy Scouts, go to company.com/.
Oh, the popcorn. That's right. You should have brought that out to the thing.
Of course.
To the rally and sold it.
If you're watching this on any other platform, because YouTube, I'm trying to move everybody to YouTube for the 10 other platforms I broadcast at. So there's my YouTube, John Crump 2. 25% off GOA, gunowners.org, black-swan-media. And if you want to get involved with 2A sanctuaries, this is a good website, gunownersaction.org/SASO.
Well, I took a picture of that, but remind me, I do want to get involved with that. So, because I'd like to see us run the county areas doing that here. So, all right, I'm actually doing, I'm on GOA right now, getting my membership.
All right, yeah, it's a good deal. I will not be on tomorrow. I have a Boy Scout den meeting, and then I got to do some Boy Scout stuff.
Oh, I'll be on with Corinne Mosier tomorrow night, by the way, which Corinne doesn't do a lot of live streams. And Corinne just got published an article about predators and the tactic of predators. And that's in the lane of the stuff I do with that. And she's starting to get more into advocacy. So 6 p.m. on Instagram, I'll be with the gorgeous and amazing human being, Corinne Mosier, doing that live stream. That'll be a good one to watch.
Thursday, I will be back with our political weekly show. We do a show once a week that's just political. It's not really gun related. Well, it could be, but it's more political stuff.
Yes.
And that's on Thursday. We do it every Thursday night, and then we'll probably back Saturday. On Friday, I don't know if I'm gonna be on. I just want to take a day off.
I get it. Totally get it. So, all right, sir. Well, I hope you have a good, I'm sure I'll talk to you before then, but if I don't, have a good holiday.
All right. You have a wonderful Thanksgiving and
yes, 6 Pacific time.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked. Yeah.
You gotta stick with the East Coast,
I know, and he's in Florida. Yeah. So 6 Pacific time.
Yeah. I don't know how I know this is West Coast. I guess this is, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know my gang signs. So I got to brush up on my gang signs.
I'm white. I don't know.
I am 1% black.
You're what? Well, actually, technically we're all from Africa. Like, right? You know what I mean? Like, we want to go down that. That's, you know what? No, that's a whole other conversation. We'll be talking another hour.
No, just, I did the 23andMe type thing.
Yeah, I need to, because I love that's like getting into that history geek thing. So I love that kind of stuff. I am of pagan roots, Nordic. So yeah. Pagan is not a religion. It was people. So thank you, John. It was great chatting with you, as it always is. I enjoyed this, and thanks everybody for watching. And I look forward to seeing you all around. You know where to find me. DM me if you have any questions or want to get involved with We the Female, or bring one of my classes to your area.
And everyone out there, remember, I love my Patreons. Bye.